In this clip from the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, actor Taylor Kitsch shares a hilarious story about saying goodbye to his dad.
I had 4 days off, so I went home to Bozeman, was fly fishing. Only my favorite spot in West Yellowstone. My bro calls me, and I'm like, I just caught like a 20-inch rainbow or something. And I'm ripping into my brother, being like, I'm killing it. The rod's on fire right now. And he's like, So my dad raced cars as well. And his race car name, we called him Gooey growing up. And he's like, Gooey's got 48 hours to live. And I was like, all right. Literally, just verbatim like that. Like I saw him, the last 19 years, I saw him twice. And one time was in Montana, and he had early onset dementia. And so I take my adventure van, drive up to Kelowna, my hometown, and I've got this big beard from Primeval. And I hadn't talked to one of my brothers in years, and then I was still close with the oldest, and get to the hospital, and I turn his wheelchair around, and I'm like, hey, Gooey. And he's like, who the fuck are you?
Whoa.
Yeah. And he's on like oxygen, and I'm like, I'm your youngest son. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm just here to say hi and hang out for a couple days. And he was like on point, like his brain was going. And it was a little like I hadn't seen my one bro forever. So
how long had it been since you'd seen him before that?
Years, a couple years. Yeah, probably 2 years.
And is it dementia that he didn't recognize you, or the beard?
No, the beard. It was the beard. And I was limping with that toe. And so we go up to his room. This is a Friday at noonish. And he's great, though. Like, so we had this young doctor. He's like 40, great guy. I go and sit down with him. I'm like, dude, he's dialed. Like, what do you mean he's going to die? Like, he's on point. And he's like, this is what happens. Sometimes when somebody like this, he doesn't know he's dying, but he is, like all three of us brothers, all three of his sons were there. And it's like a high. And everything, he's just dialed into it all. Right. And just very present.
Because everybody's there.
Yeah. And he's like, the doc is like, man, I have a feeling all three sons haven't been together with him. And I'm like, in 25 years. And so we were all there. And I had my assistant back in Santa Fe. And I was like, hey, my dad played for Kelowna Pipe Band. And I was like, call her. I'm like, you got to help me here. Get a piper and to come play for him at the hospital. And she's like, on it. And she was great. Friday night, I'm like, Gooey, what do you want for breakfast? And he's like, give me something I shouldn't have. Give me like a Costco muffin and a stupid amount of whipped cream and a coffee. And so, of course, I go overboard and bring him this the big chocolate chip muffin and the coffee in the next morning. But he had gone from like dialed to he's hurting. So we got this piper to come. We're not allowed to do this. We bring him out in the courtyard, and the piper comes, and he's asleep. She's like, "What do you want me to play?" Like they know of my dad that he had played for the Kelowna Pipe Band, and I'm like, I don't know many songs. I just obviously Amazing Grace and stuff like that. And so she just rips it, and he wakes up, and we're all buckled emotionally, right? Because the pipes to us is just like that's our father. That's like our only memory, one of our only memories for him. So she plays 2 songs, and he's falling asleep again, and he wakes up, and I'm like, Gooey, you got one more song. And he's like, okay. He was a mama's boy, loved his mom, and she was amazing. He's like, play one for my mother. So I think at that point, he knew he was about to go see her. Wow. And so we have all this on video, and his brother was there, and his wife, and his best friend growing up, and the nurse comes out after the pipes. Obviously, the whole fucking hospital can hear this, and so we're obviously got caught. And she's like, "Bring him up now." And so we're like, "Yes, ma'am." So we have him in his bed, and you know those like wheelchair ramps. Uh-huh. It's like a hard 90 degree. He's out. He's sleeping. We got him, and we're stuck in that turn. So now it's like Weekend at Bernie's. We're like, and this is like a pain movie where it's like, I'm like, hey, Gooey's stuck. Boys, he's stuck. We can't get over this corner because the bed's too long. We're dying. Like, we needed a laugh. So I look down and Gooey's arm is like crooked, jammed in that bar.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, whoa, back up a bit. So we loosen it up. And it's like, it's not broken, but he didn't feel any of this shit. Ugh. So we're like crying, laughing because it's like a weekend at Bernie's moment. It's our dark humor, man.
Right.
You gotta laugh in those moments.
Yeah, I guess you have to.
Yeah, because we were just buckled 10 minutes earlier. Get him to the room, and he's in and out sleeping. And the next day, on Father's Day, I had to drive back to Bozeman. We have dark humor. And so everyone's in the room, and I'm like, all right, get the fuck out of this room. Everybody, like a joke, but the nurses are like, oh my God, what happened? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it's a joke. I just want 10 minutes with him. And then I got to go. I got to go back to work, but I'm going to say goodbye. And so they leave, and he's like kind of in and out of consciousness, and he would wake up and look right through you. Like he's trying to be with you or present, or well, I don't know. That's kind of how I took it. He's fighting consciousness, I guess. Small little side note. I was driving, and the shaman who was helping me for Primeval, he texted me once I got into Canada, and he was like, hey, I had a dream. You got to call me. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe this stuff, but I'll call you. And so I call him, and he's like, hey, something's up. And I'm like, I've told 3 people that my dad's going. And he's like, I had a dream that you're about to lose someone. I don't know if they're close to you, and I hate calling. This is a crazy call, but I'm going to listen to this. And I'm like, man, I'm on my way to say goodbye to my dad. He goes, okay, that's what it is. Wow. Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
I know. I don't know what that is. I'm still, and he's like, tell me about your dad. What kind of guy was he? I'm like, not very present. He drank a lot, some regrets, of course, and this and that. And he goes, okay, I'm going to set up an altar and pray for him. And this is what I think is going to happen. He's not going to cross over very easily because of the life he's lived. And so when I'm one-on-one with my dad, I started the conversation. I'm like, Gooey, it's me. And he had soft hands. That's one thing I remember. So I grabbed his hand, and our humor. I'm like, yeah, these are a little soft, Gooey. Like, maybe you should have worked harder. Like, no calluses, like nothing. just trying to. And then I went into like the nonprofit, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try and give back, and this and that. And I promised him. And during that conversation, he would try and like be conscious, and he was fighting to be there present, but he was, I think, gone. And then 2 hours I left, and then on the way home I bro called, and he had passed on Father's Day. Then I was back to work on Tuesday riding Banana Bread, my horse.
Did that help you like hold a feeling of loss for your character?
I think how crazy art simulating life and vice versa.
Especially
I'm playing a guy mourning,
right?
And then all of a sudden, like, my father, who I didn't really have, died, but it's still your dad,
Yeah.
I was upset that some knew that it's my news to tell, but some had already knew, the crew. So I was a little rattled at that when I got to set, because everyone was very fragile with me, which I understand.
Right.
But I was like, whoever told you guys, it's not your story to tell. It's mine if I want to share it with the crew or whoever. But so I was a little upset on set, but then it was so beautiful, man, because a lot of these older guys on set would just come up and be like, man, my father was this guy to me, this guy, but I feel you. And they would share all their father stories. So it was a beautiful experience. And then we shot the scene. He's like, go home. And then I got to my trailer, and literally to the minute of when I went down, that was the minute he got cremated. Wow. Yeah. But I do think it was really cathartic to be playing that guy. And then I had a beautiful sweat after, and I mourned him the right way. It did knock me, though, for like, I'd say 6 months after. I was like, what am I doing? Am I doing everything or enough? Am I living my life enough? Because even if he's not in your life, you're still like, to witness that it was heavy.
Yeah.
But I had mourned him right. And, I'm in a good spot now, but it was an interesting thing of, you just take stock, I guess. I've never lost somebody close to me, especially in that way. So yeah, it was just a blessing to be still on set working and doing that.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to appreciate people, and sometimes it takes a loss before you appreciate others. Sometimes it's just like you just get too used to people. You get too used to them being around. You take them for granted.
Yeah.
And then if they're gone, you just...
That's, you know what, Joe? That's what I was literally saying. He's just gone.
When I was
just like that.
Lived in New York, I had a best friend that was a drug addict. And he was a crack addict at one point in time. And then later, he started getting into harder stuff like opiates. And he died of an overdose. And I moved to L.A. in '94, but, you know, we stayed friends. We hung out. He would come out to visit me. I'd go to visit him, but he was always fucked up. He was always a mess. Came to my house once and detoxed. I didn't know that that's why he wanted to come to L.A., but he came to L.A. and he was just so sick. He just laid in bed for 4 or 5 days.
Brutal.
And then, you know, a couple days later, he had to go back to New York. But he died of an overdose. And another buddy of mine that I'm good friends with called me up, that we were all tight together. He called me up, and it just never made sense. I was like, how is he not here?
Yeah.
How is he gone? Like it just fucked me up where I knew he was going to die. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to happen, but I couldn't believe it happened. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you got to go back to work.
I know.
Back to life, you know, and you feel so like a piece of you's missing.
Yeah.
Like the world doesn't make sense.
Truly.
Like a person isn't in the world anymore. It's so hard to imagine until it actually happens. So abstract almost.
And like you said, even if like I had enough time to understand he was going,
right?
But when they're gone, it's just totally different.
Yeah.
And then you just take stock, and you're like, okay, am I doing enough? Am I whatever it is? It's
just tell people you appreciate them. Sometimes, sometimes that's all it takes.
And forgave them.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't that son that was like, where were you? Why didn't you do this for me? Blah, blah, blah. I wasn't.
He is who he is.
Yep. Yeah. And you learn that as you get older.
Yeah. People are who they are. And some people also, they grew up with monsters.
Yeah.
That's the other problem. If you try to pretend that, you know, your parents should have their shit together because you have your shit together and they were your parents. No. Well, who raised them? They were raised by people living in the Depression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were raised by animals.
Yeah.
We've only been truly civilized.
Truly.
Humans have only been truly civilized for the last few decades.
Truly.
I think most of history is just horrific barbarism. It's just slaughter and crime.
And repeat.
And repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over and over and over again until we developed the ability to communicate how bad that is.
It doesn't fix it.
It fixes it a little. It makes it a little better.